This is Pinyin in a Week. I'm your instructor Betty with YesLingo.com. Lesson 2, Initials. Now, in the last lesson, we learned all about the first set of simple finals. And as promised today, we're going to learn about the next component of Mandarin syllables, which is the initial. There are 21 initials in Mandarin, and here is a chart showing all 21 initials. Each row is one group of initials. And at first glance, it looks very similar to English, doesn't it? Now, we already know from our previous lesson that the initial is just the first consonant of the syllable. It's basically the first letter or the first group of letters in a syllable. We're going to look at each group of initials one by one. Let's look at the first group. You can see that the letters that make up the first group of initials are B, P, M, and F. Now, they actually don't sound like this in Chinese. These initials are called the labial initials because they use both your top and bottom lip to pronounce them. Obviously, you recognize these letters, and they actually do have very similar pronunciations as in English. First, listen to me pronounce them. B, P, M, F. Did you see that they actually sound a lot like English? But did you also notice that with their original pronunciation, it's really hard to hear what they sound like? That's why when we're learning initials, we usually add a vowel to the end so that you can pronounce them easier. In this case, we add the O vowel to the end of B, P, M, and F. And we end up with bo, po, mo, fo. So let's go over all of these one by one. The first initial is bo, bo. This is unaspirated, meaning you do not need to forcefully blow air out as you pronounce this word. In fact, it's a little bit like the P sound in the word spy. Bo. Notice that in both cases, I'm not blowing air out. Let's try one more time. Bo, bo. Now the next initial is po, po. Unlike the previous one, this sound is strongly aspirated. That means you need to blow air out. It's a little bit like the P in pick. Po, po. Very good. The next initial is mo. And this is very similar just to the M sound in English, as in mommy. Mo, mo. The last initial from this group is fo, fo. And it sounds like the F in fun. So just touch your top teeth to your bottom lips and then blow air out. Fo, fo. Very good. Let's try reading all of these together one more time. Po, po, mo, fo. Good job. This is the next set of initials, D, T, N, and L. And these initials actually have very similar pronunciations to their English counterparts. Let me pronounce them softly for you to listen to first. D, T, N, L. Again, they're kind of hard to hear when listening to their original pronunciation. So we're going to add a vowel to the end of these initials. And it's going to sound like this. D, T, N, L. the pronunciation gets easier, right? Let's try one more time. Z, ch, n, l. Good. D is unaspirated and is similar to the T sound in stay. See how I'm not blowing air through my mouth? Stay. D. Make sure that you touch the tip of your tongue to the back of your front teeth. D. D. This sound, t, is very similar, except this one is strongly aspirated, and it's more like the T sound in tea. See how we're blowing air out as we make the sound? T. And similarly, we also need to aspirate this initial. T. T. Very good. The next one is N. And this is very similar to any N sound in English, as in no. N. N. And finally, this initial makes L. L. It just sounds like the L sound in lean. L. Very good. So let's read all of these together one more time. D, t, n, l. Very good. This is the next set of initials. G, k, h. And you notice the vowel we added is very similar to the previous set that we just did. We also added an E to the end of every initial, just so that you can hear their pronunciations. G, k, h. All right, good. Let's go over each of these one by one. G is unaspirated. Again, we're not blowing air out. So it's a little bit like the K in sky. Sky. Notice how we never blow air out as we make that sound? Same thing with this one here. G. Do not pronounce it like the G in good. It should be G. G. Very good. Now this one right here, the K, it's actually strongly aspirated like the K in kite. See how we're blowing a lot of air out? Kite. So this one is k, k. If I held a napkin to my mouth as I pronounce this, you would be able to see the napkin actually flutter because I'm blowing air out. K. Very good. Now the last one, this H right here, it's actually quite an interesting sound. It has slightly more restricted airflow than the H sound in American English. So what you can do is make this sound by closing the back of your throat a bit and letting the air flow over the back of your tongue as you make this sound. It sounds like this. H, h. Some people even say it's a little bit like the CH sound in Scottish, like when they say loch. It's a little bit like that, except your throat is not as closed. Let's try one more time. H, h. Good job. Let's read all of these together one more time for review. G, k, h. Good job.